The Batman, featuring Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Colin Farrell, Paul Dano, and Andy Serkis, explores Batman's second year of being a masked vigilante and how he grapples with the death of his parents. Batman takes a journey in becoming a beacon of hope for Gotham and not the fear and vengeance he previously sought out to instill. After the murders of important Gotham officials and the mysterious clues left by the serial killer the Riddler, Batman must uncover the truth, lies, and facades put over Gotham. Here's my honest review of The Batman. Batman is my favorite superhero of all time, and I've always yearned to see a detective side of a story which draws inspiration from comic books like Long Halloween, Year One, Court of Owls, Batman R.I.P., The Killing Joke. And I feel like with Matt Reeves as the Batman, he hones on all of those wants. He delivers a breathtaking and fresh idea of the Batman, which, to be honest, is my favorite movie of the year so far. With even the first scenes of this movie, you're already locked into this thrilling and exciting cinematic ride of this fresh new take of the Batman. The Batman character as a whole should be dark and gringy, which is why I like aspects of Zack Snyder's Batman, which pulls on this side of being more of a horror type character in scenes like the warehouse or when he is engaging in a sex trafficking house and he's sitting up top in the corner of the house and the cop shines the light and he sees the Batman. Those moments of the Batman character in cinema really hones in why I love this character so much. The Batman in this film shows qualities of being a more secluded and laid-back type of character, which doesn't speak very much, and uses his emotion of his eyes and his face to show his pain and suffering that he feels with the loss of his parents and his direction he's taking with his life. The cinematography in this film is just masterful by Greg Fraser with his works on Dune and Rogue One, where he uses these wide-scale and breathtaking shots to hone in this feel of Gotham and the Batman character as a whole. With this film, all the actors are performing at their highest peak. All the actors perform greatly in their roles, and I specifically love Paul Dano's performance for Edward Nygma as the Riddler. I felt like his portrayal of an introverted psychopath was so spot on down to the minute detail that some might say that he's over the top, but I feel like he really hones down for this character. I love the parallels that Matt Reeves portrays with Bruce Wayne and Edward Nygma both being orphans, while one goes off on the path of being a billionaire and becoming Batman, and the other goes down a path of a psycho killer and one that's been thrown away by society. It really shows, again, the parallels between Bruce Wayne's vengeance in the beginning to his being a hope for Gotham in the end, and showing the different paths he could have taken if he became more of a psychopath-like Riddler. And that's why the Riddler in this film loves the Batman so much, because this symbol that they're both trying to portray at the beginning of the movie both utilizes fear and different forms of strength to show how Gotham's underworld is slipping into real life and corrupting the city. I love how Matt Reeves directs the clues in this film, which kind of draw inspiration from films like Seven and Zodiac, and it adds a little bit of a humorish but dark humorish levity to the film with the clues like the "You Are Alata Alata" and the thumb drive, which I thought were really cool. Other aspects of the film I love are the Batmobile was done so well in this film, that one scene where the car is revving up is so cool. When the penguin's looking at it, it sent tingles down my spine. It's a very cool implementation of a more grounded take on a Batmobile, which has been built by Bruce Wayne himself, as I think he was in the comic books. For this movie, at least, he was a street racer before he became Batman. And he was trained by Alfred in fighting, but also in racing, which is pretty cool. So he built his own car. The car itself in the Batman film felt like a living and breathing animal, with his screeches and howls of a lion or a tiger lurking in the darkness. Was such a cool shot and scene in the movie that I really loved. And having that car be another kind of addition to Batman's anger. You can see in the car chase scene when he's like pushing the rev and he's going super fast, his yelling and screaming all adds to that muscle car feel, which is very cool. Matt Reeves likes to hint at different storylines from comic books in this film, like The Long Halloween, where he uses that Carmine Falcone story with Thomas Wayne, as well as Batman Year One, where Batman is his fresh take. Even though it's his second year, he walks the streets of Gotham, has no Bruce Wayne life, and his only goal is to kind of take his death of his parents as this fuel for his rage on crime, which I think is really cool. Basically everything in this film I really enjoy. The car is so cool in this film when it revs up. The gadgets, the suit, everything about this film I love. There are a couple gripes that I have with Alfred and kind of the end and the length at the end, but besides that, it's all my favorite Batman movie. It's all perfect. With Alfred, I feel like they could have used more of him. I feel like he was more of a character that wasn't utilized a lot. I actually thought he would have died in that one scene, which is not good for an Alfred because he's such a important character to Bruce Wayne. And I thought that the glimpses of the relationship between the two was really cool and really well done, but having more of that would have been better for the story. And talking about more towards the end, I felt that the Joker's team was kind of forced into this film. There have been so many great renditions of the Joker, but I want to see a fresh take on a new character from his rogues gallery, which is stacked with great villains like Firefly, Clayface, Hush, which is hinted at with the Elliott family in the film, Mad Hatter, Calendar Man, Professor Pig, Mr. Freeze, which I think could be a really cool grounded take that Matt Reeves has already shown a little bit of interest in interviews for the sequel. There's just so many different types of villains that could be taken in this grounded take that could be really, really cool. So with comparing this film to other Batman films like the Tim Burton series, the Nolan series, and Zack Snyder's rendition of Batman, I think overall Matt Reeves' Batman feels the most true to the character, the detective side of a story, and the best Batman film I have probably ever seen. Maybe not as good as a film as The Dark Knight, which takes a more realistic side of the story with military gear and a New York-esque type Gotham. But I feel like overall the Batman story is just so true to the character and takes this comic book side with the monologues, the always dark Gotham, which feels like a lived-in and comic book style Gotham. And we also just get more of Batman himself. Probably in later sequels we'll get more of a Bruce Wayne side because he's learned to deal with those two types of personalities. But The Dark Knight as a movie is probably better than the Batman, but the Batman's a better Batman. The Dark Knight, you're getting an outstanding performance by Heath Ledger, which kind of outshines Christian Bale's performance. So you have to get those two sides as well. So it's hard because I love both films, but speaking to truly of a Batman film, I feel like the Batman's a better. Now my opinion is still only my opinion, so if you have other concerns or questions you want to ask, you can feel free to leave them in the comments below, but Overall, I think this film does a great job of bringing in a new Batman that we haven't seen before, the more detective side of the story. And I would give it a 9.8 out of 10, docking down those 2 points for Alfred's and the overextensive use of that one scene with the Joker. So I think overall it's just a great film, and if you haven't seen it, please go see it and watch it in theaters. It's such a good experience to watch. And thank you so much for watching, and feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, like. Thank you so much.